Hey everybody. So I kind of want a pot pie, and I stopped buying the already made frozen individual pot pies when I had an epiphany and was like, why don't I just make one big pot pie and freeze it in individual pieces? All right, so as usual for me, whenever I use my oven, I want to get as much use of it out of it as I can. So I actually have two pie crusts. These do kind of need to come up to room temperature, and they're cold right now. So I'm going to move them right back here because my oven vent is right there. And that will just kind of let them come up just a little bit faster. I'm gonna make two different pot pies today. I'm going to make a steak and potato pot pie and a chicken pot pie. So the steak and potato pot pie is gonna be pretty simple. I'm just gonna open it. And then dump the rest of that in there. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna pour in some of these mixed veggies. I don't really care if there's a whole lot. I like veggies, so you know. Just break apart. Everything. Wow, that's cold on my hands. I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of cornstarch, and that will help thicken this up. Not a whole lot, just a little. Just kind of sprinkle it over the top. Like that. Might do a little more. Okay. Now I'm gonna come in with a spatula, and I'm just gonna mix all this up together. But using these soups like this is a good way that I have found to just cut corners a little bit. It gets you your base, and usually, you know, at least a couple of ingredients, and then you can just add more to make it your own. All right, so we got that in there. I do think it needs a little more flavor, so I am going to sprinkle the top with some Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to put me a little bit of onion powder. Not a whole lot, just a little. Because I just really like the combination of the onion powder with the Worcestershire. I think it goes together really well. My oven is set at 425. Pie is ready. Now for my chicken pie. And again, this is one of my Pyrex things with a lid. Unfortunately, my pie plate Pyrex thing doesn't have a lid, but we'll be fine. This is just grilled chicken breast. I'm probably just going to use all of this because I need to use it up. Break apart some of these pieces that are stuck together. But anyway, there we go. There's pie. I'm going to do the rest of this bag of mixed veggies. Okay, there we go. I got some of those in there. All right, so normally if I was gonna be cooking with these potatoes, I would rinse them. The water in it's gonna have a lot of starch that would throw off texture, but that'll actually help in the pot pie because it will help thicken it. So I'm going to leave that in. Get all of these out of the bottom. We need all of them. Come on now. Get out of there. All right. So now we got potatoes. So then I'm going to do this can of cream of chicken soup in my measuring cup. So to thin this out a little bit, I'm just gonna add some almond milk, because again, I am allergic to milk. But I like almond milk because it's pretty neutral in flavor, but it still gives just the barest hint of like nuttiness. So just gonna kind of mix this up. You don't have to completely get rid of all the lumps, but it does help. I'm also going to add a tiny bit of mayonnaise. You might be going, mayonnaise, that's weird. But mayonnaise is gonna give it a nice creamy texture. And since I can't have milk, mayonnaise is what I use instead. So now I'm gonna mix this mayonnaise in. Again, it doesn't really matter if you get all of the lumps. I'm just gonna pour this over the top. That almost wasn't enough. Okay. Go in there. Alright, so now I'm just gonna kind of stir this in. Make sure that we get that sauce in with everything. And I'm not gonna add any cornstarch to this one because it's obviously a lot thicker than that one. So these are 2 servings of mashed potatoes. They're frozen, but I'm gonna defrost them and then add them to this. And then I will add that in when those get done. I am gonna go ahead and add my onion powder. And again, you can do regular onions if you'd like. I just don't like the texture. And I'm also gonna add a little garlic powder. Go. I'm just gonna dump mashed potatoes in. And if you're wondering why I'm doing this when there's already potatoes in there, you know, like, won't those other potatoes do the same thing? No. They're probably red potatoes or yellow potatoes, so they don't mash. Only russet potatoes turn into mashed potatoes. So just that little bit of extra liquid will help make this the nice creamy texture that we want. Just make sure everything is all mixed in. Even it all out, then hopefully they should be. I know your next question is gonna be, but Caitlin, this is a circle and that's a rectangle. I know. I'ma fix it. Don't worry. So there's one. Seal it to this one. I'm not one of those it needs to be pretty people. It has to taste good. Again, I come from waste not, want not. So I'm just gonna play some Tetris here and figure out the best way to make all this stuff fit. I will go through again and pinch with my fingers just to kind of adhere that crust to the edge of the pan. Ta-da! There, it's done. The other thing you're gonna need is some holes for steam to vent. So I usually just put about 4. And we're gonna work on this one. This one, I'm not really gonna care if it gets sealed. That's how we're gonna do this. Don't try and tear it in half. Haha, idiot. So we're gonna put this half here. And we're gonna put this half here. And see, y'all were worried, and it works perfectly. So just, again, play some more Tetris and fill in your holes. See? Now with this one, because it's all, I'm not gonna worry about steam. I'm gonna take my spray, and I'm gonna spray the top of these. And I'll make sure that those get good and golden. This is something else that I haven't told y'all about. These are half sheet pans. I worked in a restaurant for several years, and I can tell you from experience, these things are indestructible. They're a little more expensive. I have 2 of them, and I think I paid $10 for them. But they're lightweight. They conduct heat very evenly. And you can see there's kind of some discoloration, but for the most part, they're perfect. So we'll have a link for these down below as per usual, as well as for the Pyrex containers that I have. You can have this tray all to yourself. All right, so these are going in the oven at 425. Not the lid, obviously. All right, so it's been about 35 minutes. I came in here about 10 minutes ago and flipped the top and the bottom because they weren't heating very evenly, and I put some tinfoil around the bottom one, which is the one in the pie tin. Ooh. Now the top one is looking almost done. The bottom one is still looking a little not done. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn my oven off, and I'm gonna go with my oven cool down method. The oven is off. They've been in there 40 minutes with the oven on and probably about 20 with it off. So let's see how they look. They look done to me. That one could have gotten a little more brown, but it's okay. Oh, okay. There's our pies. Now I'm gonna let them cool completely before I try and separate them out. But you can see that our tinfoil did the job because it kept the edges from burning. I definitely want to try both of these. So let's see. We'll get some of this one. And come on now. Some of this one. Should have put more, looks like more cornstarch in that one because it's still very liquidy. We're gonna hope, I guess, that it will thicken as it cools. It should. Well, there they have it. Once these cool down, I'll separate them out into individual freezer containers. Or well, I actually might do that with this one. This one I might just leave with the and put the lid on and just eat it during the week. All right, so got my pot pie. Let's see, I think I'm gonna try the beef one first. little piece of everything. Put that by. A bowl very hot. I love using the premixed chunky soups because you get like, it's a hint of, oh, this should be a soup, but it makes it interesting because it's in a different format than your brain thinks that taste should be. But now for the piece de resistance, chicken pot pie. So good. That beats anything that you can buy pre-made. Oh, I love it. You get a nice difference in the textures. And again, that mashed potatoes that we added, I don't taste that. I do taste potatoes in it, but it just helped give it this nice creamy texture in the sauce, since I can't add like cheese or milk or anything like that. I also don't taste that mayonnaise in there at all, but it again helped with that same creaminess. So if you ever need to thicken something up, you want to bind things together, but you can't use cheese, mayonnaise is a great multitasker. It can do a bunch of hidden things, and like, I don't even really like the taste of mayonnaise by itself, but I love putting it in stuff. So anyway, hope you all have a fabulous day. Keep on loving the real world, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.